It's impossible to receive an award and not feel emotional.
Vin Diesel, the man behind some of the most explosive action scenes in Hollywood, has always kept fans curious about his roots. Why? Because even Diesel himself has described his ethnicity as ambiguous. Mysterious, right? It's like his heritage has its own plot twist. On his mother's side, there's some Scottish lineage in the mix, but the story gets even more intriguing. He's never actually met his biological father. In Vin's own words, "All I know from my mother is that I have connections to many different cultures." But here's where it gets even more serious. Vin believes that back in the day, his parents' relationship might have been illegal in certain parts of the US, thanks to the era's anti-miscegenation laws. Imagine that, laws that once tried to dictate love. But here's the thing about Vin, he's carried that lesson with him. His takeaway: love everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from. Things take a tragic turn in Vin's life when his dear friend and Fast and Furious co-star, Paul Walker, passed away. The heartbreak was real, and it hit Vin especially hard. These two shared more than just screen time. They had a genuine brotherhood that went beyond the flashy cars and high-octane action sequences. Can you imagine the void? It's like Dom Toretto losing his right-hand man. But there's more to this story than grief. Questions surfaced about Paul's daughter, Meadow, and what would happen next. Why did Paul entrust his daughter's future to Vin Diesel? Was it just because they were close, or was there something deeper to their bond? Stick around, because we're about to dig into the emotional engine of this story. Vin and Paul weren't just co-stars, they were family. And in the world of Fast and Furious, family is everything. Before he was speeding down highways and pulling off death-defying stunts, Vin Diesel was just Mark Sinclair, born on July 18, 1967 in Alameda County, California. Yes, you read that right. The man we now know as a global action star didn't even start life as Vin Diesel. It was a transformation that would come later, along with a story filled with unexpected twists and turns. Vin grew up in New York City with his mother, fraternal twin brother, and his stepfather, Irving Vincent, an African-American theater manager who unknowingly lit the spark of acting in him. Irving provided young Vin with his first stage roles, but don't think for a second that Vin was an instant angel. One of the most legendary stories from his childhood comes from when he and his friends tried to vandalize the theater for the new city in Greenwich Village. Instead of calling the cops, the artistic director, Crystal Field, made them a deal: ditch the vandalism and get a role in the children's play Dinosaur Door instead. And so, at the age of 7, Diesel made his acting debut in a way that would shape the rest of his life. By the time he was in his teens, Vin had a side gig as a club bouncer, which is where the name transformation came into play. Wanting a tougher-sounding name to match his bouncer persona, he ditched Mark Sinclair for the now iconic Vin Diesel. Vin was a nod to his stepfather's surname, Vincent, while Diesel was coined by his friends, who joked about his seemingly endless energy. Vin Diesel, more than muscles and mayhem. And most people think of Vin Diesel, what comes to mind? Rippling muscles, fiery explosions, and a whole lot of dude bro energy. That's the Diesel people see on screen. But there's so much more to the man behind the action hero. Spoiler alert, Vin's got layers. While his hypermasculine persona seems to reinforce old-school tough guy stereotypes, Diesel actually works to challenge that narrative. He believes that real strength lies in vulnerability, love, and compassion. Who would have thought the guy behind Dom Toretto is also the king of emotional intelligence? Quick rewind to 2001. Vin Diesel proved he's a real-life action hero when he witnessed a car crash on the Hollywood freeway. Without hesitation, he jumped into action, pulling 2 kids from the wreck and helping the driver escape before the car was engulfed in flames. Despite his ability to channel toughness when needed, Vin's softer side shines through, and that's what makes him so likable. He's not just a tough guy, he's a big-hearted softie at his core. Yes, you heard it here first. Much like actresses are often objectified and reduced to their appearance, Diesel feels that people focus too much on his brawn, overlooking his emotional depth. And honestly, it's time we all look a little deeper. Vin's mission to challenge toxic masculinity is clear. It's okay to be strong, but it's even better to be loving. As he told Flaunt, the best version of myself has always been just a pure message of love. I don't have to pretend to be tough, which gives me the freedom to be loving. That might sound counterintuitive, but it's a message we could all stand to hear a bit more often. Diesel's recent movie Bloodshot aimed to flip the typical superhero narrative on its head. Instead of portraying a flawless, emotionless warrior, Diesel's character struggles with trauma and vulnerability. Finally, a superhero who feels human. As Diesel explained, we really wanted to tackle themes like post-traumatic stress disorder and how that plays into our idea of a superhero. The goal? To create a hero who evokes both empathy and fear, a delicate balance that challenges traditional ideas of masculinity and strength. Vin Diesel is not content with playing one-dimensional male heroes anymore, and for good reason. He recognizes that audiences today crave characters with emotional depth, vulnerability, and humanity. The action-packed roles may showcase his physical strength, but Diesel is more interested in exploring what makes a true hero: compassion, emotional intelligence, and the courage to be vulnerable. Take notes, everyone. Through his work on and off the screen, Vin Diesel is proving that true strength doesn't come from muscles or explosions. It comes from love. Hollywood friends Vin Diesel and Paul Walker shared a unique brotherhood, going beyond co-stars to become best friends in the competitive world of showbiz. Their friendship was genuine, with Diesel even walking Walker's daughter down the aisle after his passing. Diesel continues to honor and remember Walker, highlighting their close bond whenever possible. The depth of their friendship remains a mystery, but it's clear they shared a special connection. Walker's impact on Diesel goes beyond the Fast and Furious franchise, influencing his entire life. The question remains, what is it about Walker that still touches Diesel so deeply? Their enduring friendship serves as a reminder that true bonds can transcend even the toughest of industries. Walker's legacy lives on as one of Hollywood's most cherished actors, forever remembered by his best friend, Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel always speaks with deep admiration when talking about Paul Walker. The advice Paul gave him about fatherhood showed the strong bond they shared. Diesel truly lives by the motto of family forever, even if he can sometimes be the annoying sibling. On the 8th anniversary of Walker's passing, Diesel paid tribute to him by recalling the invaluable advice Paul gave him when he first announced he was going to become a dad. Paul advised Vin to be present in the delivery room, cut the umbilical cord, and treasure that moment as the best day of his life. This advice came from Paul's personal experience as a father, and Vin took it to heart, reflecting on it every day. The child Paul helped Vin prepare for ended up playing a significant role as Meadow Walker's maid of honor at her wedding. Vin Diesel's children often remind him that Uncle Paul is with you, Dad, always, and he believes it wholeheartedly. The bond between Vin and Paul went beyond just being co-workers. It was a deep and unbreakable brotherhood. Paul's ultimate advice to jump into fatherhood with everything one has and to cherish the moment in the delivery room like it's the best day of one's life is something Vin truly lives by. This story exemplifies the true meaning of lifelong friendship and brotherhood. For Vin Diesel, Paul Walker was more than just a co-star, he was his rock. When Diesel became a dad for the first time, it was Paul who offered the wisdom and support he needed. During an interview with Access, Diesel reflected on how he leaned on Walker for advice about fatherhood, especially since, unlike their Fast and Furious characters, Paul had already been a father in real life. It's always those unexpected role reversals that hit hardest, right? I was always the big brother on set, protecting everybody, Diesel recalled. But I hadn't been a father yet, and Pablo had. Vin relied on Walker's experience when he entered this new chapter in his life. He was my rock, Diesel said. How touching is that? Even Vin Diesel, the guy who could tear through steel with his bare hands, needed someone to lean on. Irony alert. On screen, Diesel played the mentor, but in real life, Paul was the one dishing out dad advice. Vin shared how, when his youngest child was born, His own mother remarked, "Pablo was in the room with you." As Vin decided to name his daughter Pauline, a heartfelt tribute to Paul. Seriously, how beautiful is that? Vin Diesel, known for his role as Dom Toretto in the Fast and Furious franchise, has shown emotional growth both on and off the screen. He has worked to add depth to his character and believes in spreading a message of love and reconciliation in addition to entertaining audiences. In real life, Diesel is a devoted family man and became a father in his 40s. He has 3 children with his partner, including a daughter named after his late friend, Paul Walker. Diesel values his children immensely, referring to his daughter as his queen and making sure to keep her updated on his activities. Notably, his 4-year-old daughter even contributed a powerful line to the script of Fast 9, adding a personal touch to the film. Despite the demands of his career, Diesel prioritizes his family and recognizes the importance of balancing his professional and personal life. His journey from action hero to loving father reflects a new dimension to his public persona, showcasing the complexities of a man who embodies both strength and sensitivity. Vin Diesel doesn't just talk about love, he lives it. His mantra has always been love over hate, and he's not afraid to show his softer side. Far from undermining his image as a strong man, his willingness to embrace vulnerability only makes him stronger. Real strength isn't about hiding your emotions, it's about showing them. Vin's approach to fatherhood and life in general is what the world needs more of. A hero who isn't afraid to lead with love, who challenges toxic masculinity, and who isn't ashamed of his softer side. As Diesel himself puts it, "The best version of myself is a pure message of love." That's a message we can all get behind. So what does this all mean for Vin Diesel, the action star? It means he's so much more than the muscle-bound guy we see on screen. His films may be packed with car chases and explosions, but Diesel's real mission is to show the world that love is the most powerful force of all. From being a devoted father to sharing heartfelt memories of Paul Walker, Diesel has been quietly redefining what it means to be a hero, on and off the screen. And frankly, we're more than happy to live in a world where action heroes take advice from their daughters and lead with love. Fast cars and feelings? Yes, please. Paul Walker's painful end ripped Vin Diesel apart. Paul Walker's tragic death in 2013 left the world stunned. But for Vin Diesel, it was a devastating personal loss. The two weren't just co-stars in the Fast and the Furious franchise. They were like brothers, a bond that transcended the screen. Vin Diesel has made it his mission to keep Paul's memory alive, speaking of him frequently and with deep emotion. A friendship forged in fast cars. Their on-screen partnership began with The Fast and the Furious in 2001, where Paul played Brian O'Connor, a cop-turned-racer, while Vin portrayed the street racing gang leader, Dominic Toretto. What started as a professional collaboration quickly turned into a genuine friendship. For almost 15 years, the two actors shared moments both in front of and behind the camera, becoming a dynamic duo that fans adored. Diesel even became the godfather of Paul's daughter, Meadow, cementing their bond beyond just co-stars. The promise to finish what they started. As the Fast and Furious series grew in popularity, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker reflected on their unexpected journey. Initially just a classic car movie, they made a pact to end the franchise with Fast 10. Sadly, Paul never saw this promise fulfilled as he passed away in a car accident on November 30th, 2013. Paul had eagerly shared news about Fast and Amp, Furious 6 on Twitter just hours before his tragic death, leaving fans and the world in disbelief. His passing, just a short distance from a charity event he attended, highlighted his generous spirit and love for giving back. Vin's struggle to cope. Losing Paul shattered Diesel. Not only did he lose a dear friend, but someone he leaned on heavily. Diesel has spoken about the immense difficulty of continuing with Fast and Furious 7, which was still being filmed at the time. "I've been acting all my life," Vin said, "but they don't teach you how to mourn someone and simultaneously pretend they're in a scene with you." Vin's devastation was shared by Paul's mother, who comforted him after the accident, saying something that deeply moved him. "I'm sorry because you lost your other half. Diesel has said that these words stayed with him, helping him process the depth of their connection, keeping Paul's memory alive. Vin Diesel has ensured that Paul Walker's legacy lives on. He named his daughter Pauline in honor of his fallen friend, a touching tribute that speaks to their enduring bond. Vin has stayed close to Paul's family, especially Meadow, who remains a constant figure in his life. In one of the most poignant moments of their relationship, Diesel walked Meadow down the aisle at her wedding, a role that Paul would have filled if he were still alive. Vin also reflects on how Meadow interacts with his own children, especially with his daughter Pauline. "There are moments when I see her playing with Pauline," Diesel said, "and it hits me so deep because I can only imagine what my brother sees when he looks down. A brotherhood that transcends time." Through every interview, every tribute, and every memory shared, it's clear that Vin Diesel and Paul Walker shared a bond unlike any other. Even though Paul is no longer physically present, Vin keeps him alive through stories, gestures, and acts of love that remind the world of the deep friendship they had. One of Diesel's most heartfelt tributes was posted on Instagram after walking Meadow down the aisle, where he wrote, "Life's blessings always follow tragedies. Look at this photo, Pablo. It will make you smile." Vin's love for Paul Walker is more than just a memory. It's a promise to never forget, to always honor the brother who helped him along his journey. Rather than following her father into acting, Meadow has carved out her own path as a successful model and philanthropist. Meadow, the daughter of late actor Paul Walker and Rebecca Soteros, spent her early years in Hawaii before moving to Los Angeles to live with her father in 2011. Paul and Meadow shared a close bond before his tragic death in 2013, with Paul describing her as his best partner who helped him appreciate life in new ways. Meadow ventured into modeling in 2017, signing with DNA models and walking the runway for top fashion brands like Givenchy and Alexander McQueen. By 2023, she became the face of Givenchy Beauty, solidifying her presence in the fashion industry. In 2015, Meadow founded the Paul Walker Foundation, focused on ocean conservation and youth empowerment. She established initiatives like the PWF Do Good Scholarship to support students addressing community or environmental issues. Meadow faced legal battles, filing a wrongful death lawsuit against Porsche regarding her father's tragic accident. She also received settlements from Porsche and Roger Roda's estate. In 2021, Meadow married Louis Thornton Allen, but they announced their separation in 2023. She remains connected to her father's Fast and Furious co-stars and made a cameo appearance in Fast X to honor her father's legacy. Through social media tributes and ongoing philanthropic efforts, Meadow continues to honor Paul's memory while staying connected to the Fast and Furious family. Thank you for watching. To support our channel, please subscribe.